Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you again so much for our time together. I look forward to seeing you in services today as we talk about why Paul left Athens and in what condition did Paul arrive in the city of Corinth. And maybe you and I will begin to see why Paul was so disrespected by the Corinthian church almost all of his life. But right now I want us to go back and read one of the Psalms of David, Psalms chapter 55. I'm going to back up to verse 1. I know that was a couple of days ago, but let's back up to verse 1. Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my plea. Hear me and answer me. My thoughts trouble me, and I am distraught at the voice of an enemy, at the stares of the wicked. For they bring down suffering upon me and revile me in their anger. Their heart is in anguish within me. My heart is in anguish within me, and the terrors of death assail me. Fear and trembling have beset me. Horror has overwhelmed me. I said, oh, that I had the wings of a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. I would flee far away and stay in the desert. I would hurry to my place of shelter, far from the tempest and the storm. Confuse the wicked, O Lord. Confound their speech. Now, David begins to pray very specifically here. He is a leader. He begins to pray very specifically. Confuse the wicked, O Lord. Confound their speech. Now, why did he pray that? For I see violence and strife in the city. Day and night they prowl about on its walls. Malice and abuse are within it. Destructive forces are at work in the city. Threats and lies never leave its streets. Sometimes as a leader, we begin to see that there's a group of people who are destructive forces at work within a church, destructive forces at work within a city, destructive forces at work within a nation. And we go, how do I pray about these people? That they have no good agenda. There's violence and strife. They prowl around with malice and abuse within them, and they're destructive forces. How do I pray about these people who are destructive forces? Maybe they are destructive forces going after your children. Maybe there are destructive forces working within your company. Maybe there are destructive forces working within your barangay. How do we pray about these destructive forces? Father, confuse them. Father, confound their speech. You see, unless they have the intellectual ability to continue with their plan will die. Unless they have the words to continue to manipulate people, their plan will die. I want to challenge you today. Rather than getting yourself all upset when you see these destructive forces at work in your children, in your office, in your barangay, in your church, or wherever, whenever you see these destructive forces at work, don't get yourself all upset. Just go to prayer. And you pray two very specific things. Confuse them, God. Don't let their brains work straight. They can't fulfill their plans if their brains aren't working straight. Confuse them, Lord. And secondly, confound their speech so that their speech isn't manipulative and smooth as honey. Confound their speech. Let their words not make sense to people. Confound their speech. Confuse them. And you're going to find that destructive forces just begin to melt away.